Okay, I'm going to keep this one short. I did the Vancouver Marathon yesterday and I still feel a little chewed up. It was a rough run, 42.2 kilometers. I'm going to tell my future kids that I was Usain Bolt in my day. I'm going to have smart kids and they'll probably Google that shit. They'll Google Usain Bolt and tell me they know Usain Bolt was actually a 6'5" Jamaican sprinter, not a marathon runner. I'll tell them I'm not 6'5" anymore because I stopped eating my vegetables. If you know what I mean. There's a joke in there somewhere. See if you can find it. Anyways, here's what I wanted to talk about today. Is Mark Carney walking into an ambush at the White House? Many of you might know Prime Minister Carney is meeting with President Trump this Tuesday. Trump was speaking today and he basically said he does not know what Mark Carney is coming to talk to him about. Now that's a bit weird. Surely Trump has some goals for this meeting he's having with Mark Carney. I wonder if this would be remembered as the moment nice guy Carney becomes Governor Carney of the great state of Canada in Trump's rhetoric. It's what Trump has been saying in the lead up to this Tuesday meeting that has me a little concerned, that Mark Carney might just be walking into an ambush. Listen to this real quick.
Let's move on to Canada. You have long talked about making Canada the 51st state. There's obviously a new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, who you spoke to after his victory. He says that you didn't talk to him in that call about making Canada a 51st state.
No, he called me. He was very nice, and I congratulated him. He had a victory. It's a very close victory. It's, there's no majority or anything, so that's going to make things a little bit difficult, I think, for him to run. But he nevertheless had a victory, and he's a very nice man, I think.
Do you plan to talk to him about making Canada a 51st state?
He wants to come and see me. He's going to come this week or next week.
So will you talk to him about making Canada a 51st state, annexing Canada?
I'll always talk about that. You know why? We subsidize Canada to the tune of $200 billion a year. We don't need their cars. In fact, we don't want their cars. We don't need their energy. We don't even want their energy. We have more than they do. We don't want their lumber. We have great lumber. All I have to do is free it up from the environmental lunatics. We don't need anything that they have. We're giving them. I asked Mr. Trudeau, who I call Governor Trudeau, I said, not Prime Minister, Governor. I said, Governor Trudeau, could I ask you one question? Why are we giving you $200 billion? Why are we subsidizing Canada? If Canada was a state, it wouldn't cost us. It would be great. It would be such a great, it would be a cherished state. And if you look at our map, if you look at the geography, I'm a real estate guy at heart. When I look down at that, without that artificial line that was drawn with a ruler many years ago, it was just an artificial line, goes straight across. You don't even realize what a beautiful country it would be. It would be great. But I don't think the American public wants me to pay $200 billion a year to subsidize Canada. Again, remember this.
Yeah.
We don't need their cars. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy. We don't need anything. We do very little business with Canada. They do all of their business practically with us. They need us. We don't need them.
You and I talked, and I asked you if you would rule out military force to take Greenland, and you said no, you don't rule out anything. Would you rule out military force to take Canada?
Well, I think we're not going to ever get to that point. It could happen. Something could happen with Greenland. I'll be honest. We need that for national and international security.
But not with
I think
Canada?
It's highly unlikely. I don't see it with Canada. I just don't see it. I have to be honest with you.
Okay, but you don't rule it out for Greenland.
And by the way, Canada, they spend less money on military than practically any nation in the world. They pay NATO less than any nation. They think we're subsidized. They think we are going to protect them. And really, we are. But the truth is, they don't carry their full share, and it's unfair to the United States and our taxpayers.
So Trump keeps repeating this lie about the United States subsidizing Canada for $200 billion. It's interesting that Fox News, of all people, has called him out on this lie not too long ago, not even a month ago. I made a video about that. Here's a snippet of that interview where Fox News host Laura Ingraham calls him on this $200 billion deficit bullshit. Watch.
They charge us numbers that are crazy. We have a very big deficit with Canada, and there's no reason. Much more. We have much more. Just so you understand,
Look, we've gone over this a few times on this channel. The only reason Canada even has a $60 billion surplus with the United States is because of oil. The wild thing is that they take our crude at a discount, they refine the crude and sell it for 3 times profit. but apparently we're the ones ripping them off, right? We've talked about this before, so I'm not going to dwell on it too much. So in the lead up to this meeting that Trump will have with Mark Carney on Tuesday, he has been talking a lot more about making Canada the 51st state. Maybe that's because people keep asking him about it. Maybe it's because he really means it. It is very interesting nonetheless. Now, to be fair, I think the rhetoric is meant to force Canada to do more on things like defense, and he's not wrong. It's ridiculous how little we spend on defense in this country. It looks like Mark Carney is looking to improve that and do better with that. We'll have to see, right? On the trade deficit, I don't think his anger towards Canada is about Canada at all. Think about it. He's frustrated with Canada over a made-up number he pulled out from between his cheeks, right? So I think it's about his agenda of boosting U.S. manufacturing. I think he feels that there are things that the U.S. depends on other countries for that it could be making at home. Unfortunately for Canada, we're caught there because we're so integrated with the United States, right? Now, time will tell if the U.S. really doesn't need anything from Canada like he says, right? Here's why I fear this meeting tomorrow could turn into an ambush. Think about it. If Trump was looking to make a deal, why bring up the 51st state talk at all, right? Why insist on it days before he meets with Prime Minister Carney? It's disrespectful, and it doesn't really set the table for fruitful negotiations. Now, speaking of disrespect, did you guys see that Trump posted an AI-generated image of himself as the Pope? Like, the man really just likes to test the limits to see what he can get away with. It's wild. It's bonkers. But how do you negotiate with someone that insists they want your country? Imagine if something similar to what happened with Zelensky of Ukraine happens again. Like, maybe they're sitting side by side in the White House. Maybe the press is there, as they tend to be these days. Maybe Trump starts to talk about this artificial line that separates Canada and the United States. Imagine he starts talking about how much they subsidize Canada. Imagine if his loose cannon VP, JD Vance, is there. Maybe JD Vance will ask Mark Carney if he has said thank you once. Maybe he might actually ask if Canada is grateful. Maybe Trump will tell Mark Carney he doesn't have any cards but to capitulate to his desires. Of course, Mark Carney's mission in this meeting is probably to understand what Trump wants and what Canada can offer, because here's the thing. As much as most of this country agrees right now that we need a pipeline across Canada to help with our energy security, that will take years to build. We also need to diversify our trade and find reliable trading partners. Yep. But that will take a while. And it's just convenient to trade with the US. That's why we've done it for so long. That's why we've done it so much. Just about the only thing we can do right now is drop interprovincial trade barriers. I wonder if they'll actually succeed in doing that by Canada Day. That's not really that far away when you think about it. Atlantic Canada and Ontario seem to be leading the charge there. I haven't seen much more from the other provinces. So we're stuck in this transition period where Canada must find a new normal with the United States while we transition to alternatives, while also trying not to tank what's left of our economy in the meantime. That is the task in front of Mark Carney. Easy peasy, right? Easy peasy. Look, anyways, what do you guys expect to see tomorrow? I'm so nervous about it. You think I was the one going into the meeting. For what it's worth, I think Mark Carney is the right person to be in that room. Anyways, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll bring you my reaction once we get some information about the meeting. I'm imagining the headline right now, though. I'm just imagining it in my head. Trump rips Canada's Prime Minister a new asshole in front of the whole world. Please, God, please, God, please. That would be so embarrassing. I don't want to see that tomorrow, okay? I don't want to see that, but I'm dreading it. You can tell I'm dreading it. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow with all the reactions. Take care.